Okay, hey, we had to take a minute out. I said take a quick moment out because I needed to ask this guy a quick question. Okay, we've been at Oracle. We've been at ServiceNow together.
Yeah.
We've been at Pros. We are at Creatio right now as we film this. And listen, you and I have been around enterprise technology, maybe once or twice around the block. maybe once or twice around the block at this point. So this is nothing new. Rivalries are nothing new, right? In fact, when Oracle and Microsoft announced their partnership last year, their rivalry had been so ingrained into all of our minds that Holger Mueller fell off his chair. Okay, like it was wild. But here's my question. When did everyone start thinking Salesforce was their rival? To the point where it's in like letters on slides, on main stages.
Yeah.
Like, have you noticed, like, everyone is going after Big Blue? And I mean Salesforce, not IBM.
Yeah. It's been interesting because, there's been a lot of always that in the trenches. Right? Mm-hmm. And you'll see, if you're privy to get in the sales kickoffs, you'll hear a lot of like, hey, our win rate was better or worse this year against Salesforce. So, it's ever
present. Or that's our playbook.
Yeah, it's our playbook. Yeah.
Right. Now, and I'm going to ask you this very specifically because for years you were creating those playbooks, those go-to-market motions, right? And a lot of them were really that, you guys had a very similar ICP in that regard.
No, of course. So
that playbook has always been around, but it's gone beyond, like, am I imagining this? It's gone beyond playbook.
It's kind of like, when you, as both a writer and a go-to-market person, like you have to learn, like, when is something when you're referencing common knowledge,
right?
And now it's becoming expected, like common knowledge is that everybody wants to leave Salesforce. And the opportunity to display Salesforce is like ripe for everybody, which I don't necessarily think is true, whatever remains to be seen. I think AI is creating pivotal moments, it's creating forks in the road, and it's creating opportunities for reevaluation and also repositioning, right? So you can reevaluate if you're on the user side, and repositioning if you're a vendor who may or may not compete as head-to-head as you may or may not think. And, being at, ServiceNow, let's take that example. Like, I get it, right? Sales and order management, CPQ, and all these types of things that they're building in CRM. Like now they're becoming a CRM company at the enterprise level. Yeah. So they are moving into Salesforce's backyard in an incredible way, right? Oracle is like, how do they care as much? Because is it customer retention? Or displacement of Salesforce.
Or is it messaging retention?
Exactly.
Like part of this, I kind of feel like it's we're going to go after Salesforce because Salesforce is a name that people come and say to us.
Yeah.
But not necessarily they're on the consideration cycle. Like if you're on OCI, what you doing? What you doing considering other stuff?
No,
like
exactly.
They're just certain questions.
Especially when you're talking about your AI being brought into the mix, right? And then if you are, if you're a 400-person company.
Very different.
Different because
different.
You could be doing anything, right? You can make and best of breed is probably how you're going. So I get it. So when I look at Creatio, for example, it's like, I get that you're gonna mention Salesforce.
Yeah.
You're gonna mention Salesforce, but the pettiness / arrogance is a little like surprising because
there's something going on here.
Yeah.
Like I think, and I don't know, the thing that I kept thinking about. My honest question is, who's driving that? Is it the vendors?
Is it the partners?
Or is it Salesforce?
Yeah, or Salesforce.
Like it's almost like, because like Mark going after Clippy was almost an invitation. It was a bit of an invitation of like, bring it. I can take it.
He's been snarky in his days and he's done that, but it's also, they have done some kind of, let's call them milestone actions, end of selling things like CPQ to open up the messaging you might hear at Pros and their and their delivery partners talking about it. But with Creatio is interesting because I do think they have a differentiated approach to how, they can talk 100%. About natively built embedded AI. They can talk about workflow that has been their DNA. They can talk end to end. They can talk microprocess. They can talk composability and extensibility at a cost or total cost of ownership that Salesforce just isn't going to do.
Right.
As you move down market is what I mean.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like, why bother? Who are you?
Why invoke the gorilla?
Exactly.
Why? I hear you.
Is Creatio big enough to invoke a response so that they can poke the bear without maybe the bear getting angry, at least publicly.
Yeah.
But I know how Salesforce responds in the trenches,
right.
And you don't want that.
Don't poke the bear too hard, is our advice here.
Exactly.
But I think for buyers, and I think this is what's interesting, I think the poking, whether it comes from a pros, whether it comes from a ServiceNow, whether it comes from a Creatio, I think no matter how big your opponent is in this poke fest, whatever we call it, that's probably not what we want to call it, but wherever the size of that opponent is, dang, it's sure getting the conversation going. And I think for buyers, that's a really interesting thing because it opens up conversations with people you may not have thought of before. You may have gone in being like, Salesforce. I know them. Everyone I know loves them. I know so many companies that are on them. They are the gorilla in the room for a very good reason. They've done a very good job getting that market presence that they have. But I think when you go in with that, we're hosting a Salesforce recovery session. When you go in with that messaging, all of a sudden you're going to see someone posting that somewhere. You're going to see someone commenting on Reddit. You're going to be like, wait a minute, was there someone else to think about?
Right.
And I do think that's where our short list. I mean, Martin and I, between the two of us, I think have like a bazillion. Is that the number? I think the official number is a bazillion, somewhere around there. But when we start to look at our short lists and wait for the internet to come back, when we look at our short list, one of the biggest things we have to remember all the time is we're shortlisting so you guys actually have the opportunity to see what other organizations are out there, see what some of those competitors are like, and stack them fairly against each other in the space and place that you are looking, as opposed to who had the billboard off the 101.
Exactly. No, exactly. And the great thing about where AI and composability are coming together is it takes best of breed to a new level.
100%.
So that, again, you don't have to think, well, Salesforce has to do everything for me, or Microsoft has to do everything for me, or whomever. It's you can actually start to take these much more fragmented approaches, which will give you quick wins, which will give you, a much more cost-effective path to rebuilding your go-to-market tech stack in the age of AI.
Yep.
And like I said, it's an exciting time. I do believe we are at a valuation crossroads for a lot of businesses.
A lot.
For every second wave and earlier adopter, absolutely. But even people who have adopted, CRM, marketing automation, supply chain, there's CPQ, there's so many things that,
It's about how it connects.
And
connection is composability.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly.
We've been talking about it for years. It's about composability of architecture that provides a foundation that you can build on, not build through or around.
Exactly.
And I think that's what we're talking about here.
Yep.
Okay, guys. We'll come back with more crazy observations, but we had to talk about this weird battle scenario that's going on. See y'all later.
See you guys.